Available now on Blu-ray from Arrow Home Video is a double feature of black and white Japanese investigative dramas from director Yasuzo Masamura. First up, we have Black Test Car from 1962, and then we have The Black Report from around the same time. These are two films that I'd never heard of, and seemed to be an odd choice for me for Arrow to release, because they tend to go with more genre films. They tend to go with, period martial arts or horror or sleaze or something like that. And it was odd to see just two straight dramas from them. But I'm very glad they released these. I'm not sure that anybody else probably would in this country. I'm not sure that these are films that ever had a US release. It doesn't seem like they were really commercial enough to do that. Black Test Car, first up, is about two rival Japanese car manufacturers who are trying to be the first to get a new sports car to market. So they're testing it, and they're trying to make sure it's road safe. And then it's basically about a lot of industrial espionage and duplicity, and sort of how low will these guys go to scoop the other company, find out what they're planning, try to do something better, try to sabotage the other company, try to smear the other company. And some of these guys, it's this notion of I'm sure it's an indictment of Japanese culture at the time, where one of these businessmen will do anything for the company and his boss, to the degree where the woman he is going to presumably marry one day, his longtime girlfriend, maybe fiance, he basically forces her to go and sleep with the elderly businessman at the rival company to find out the company's secrets before he'll even bother to ask her to marry him. He's like, if you want to get married, I'll think about it, but you have to go do this first. I'm just like, these people who are willing to sell their souls and reputations and morals out the door in hopes that they might help their company do better. So it's actually very interesting, very cutthroat, very nicely shot. As I said, these are both black and white films. These are both from the early-ish 60s, and they just have a great look to them. I mean, the material in them is compelling. The performances and the writing and the scoring and just the pacing, they're really tight. They're both 90 minutes or so. And again, if I told you, no, you're going to love it, it's a movie about competitive Japanese executives at car corporations, you'd say, I got a bus to catch. But I actually really enjoyed Black Test Car. It was fascinating to me. So the follow-up to the film, very similar in many ways, is The Black Report. And this is a film, basically it opens with a crime scene where an elderly business executive is found murdered in his apartment, and the police investigators, the prosecutor on the case, has to go around interviewing everybody who is, involved with this guy or who might have been in the apartment that night to try to suss out, who did it and why. So it's an investigative procedural film, and then it becomes a courtroom film. And not to give too much away, but you figure okay, they've gathered the evidence, now we're just going to see it play out in court. Well, sort of. Part of the interesting part about this movie is he's this old guy who works at a company. And then you find out, well, he wasn't maybe leading the cleanest of lives. And you find out all of this just ugliness about his life and the people around him, and how ugly pretty much everybody except the investigators are in this movie. And some of the cast is carried over from Black Test Car as well. And then when it gets to the courtroom portion of the procedure, you get multiple witnesses totally changing their stories. And the prosecutor's like, that's not what you told me earlier. So you wonder how this is going to play out. And is the person that they deem to be guilty really guilty? And is he going to get off scot-free because the defense team greased some palms and did some chicanery? So I really enjoyed both of these films. Not voluminous in the extras department. Sometimes Arrow will give you 2 days worth of viewing for extras, and sometimes they'll just give you a little bit. But there is a really interesting supplement where a Japanese film scholar discusses the work of this director, and those two films in particular, but also his body of work, which is something I didn't know about. I believe it's the same director as Giants and Toys, which Arrow is putting out very soon, a film I'd always heard about. I think Criterion maybe put that out a few years back, or another similar company that specialized in genre and foreign films. And there's trailers and a photo gallery. But otherwise, I thought this was a really interesting release. Probably not one that a lot of people who buy your average Arrow Japanese content, be it, monster movies or horror movies or martial arts or sleaze movies would pick up, but it's certainly it's certainly a good set for people who are fans of foreign cinema, people who are interested in Japanese culture, business culture of the time, which might be a very small and specific audience, but I had a really good time with this. I would recommend for fans of a good, tight thriller or drama, Black Test Car / The Black Report from Arrow Home Video.